Hi, this is Cars in Brazil. I'm not posting videos often in this channel. I have a channel in Portuguese where I show my car collection, everything that we do here, the search for cars, the historic context of each car, the restoration of the car, the maintenance of this collection. And I had the idea of starting this channel in English for the purpose of showing people from outside Brazil the cars that we have here in Brazil. Both cars that are made, produced, designed in Brazil, but also the cars from abroad that were brought here to Brazil for a reason or another reason. But in fact, what happened is that the people that watched the first videos that I posted in this channel were the same people that watched my videos in the Portuguese channel, so people from Brazil. So it makes no sense to make video in English for the same people that listen to that watch my videos in Portuguese. So I'm not posting this very often in this channel, but today there is an historic meeting here. That is the first 4 years of the Chevrolet Opala SS. We put the cars all together for the first time. See, things happen here as we are as we are filming, as we are doing things, because we are doing the regular maintenance on the cars, and in this meanwhile we take the things that we had to do anyway, and we produce some content for the channel. So here I put the 4 first years of the Chevrolet Opala SS. That was the biggest success of General Motors in Brazil. A car that was released in late 1968 as 69 model, and in 1971 Chevrolet released the most desired version, that is the Chevrolet Opala SS. So in 1971, this is 1971, 72, 73, 74, 74. Oh, why there are two 74? I'm gonna explain this later. So the first Chevrolet Opala SS is this one. It has a 250 cubic inches engine, the famous Chevrolet 250 6 cylinders inline, and this car was released as the sport version of the Opala line. But when it was released, we didn't have the coupe body yet, so we had to have an SS, a 4-door SS, what is pretty unusual. And this car had a 4 on the floor, mechanic transmission, a sporty steering wheel, but not power steering wheel, so it's kind of tough to drive it nowadays. It's a pretty rare car. We know about 30 cars, 30 Chevrolet Opala SS remaining from 1971. This one, the name of this color is Inca Silver, and I think it's a pretty good looking car. But for 1972, Chevrolet was going to release the 2-door version for the Chevrolet SS, what would be standard. Chevrolet did made a few Chevrolet Opala SS 4-door in 1972. We have the only known survivor. Maybe there is another one hidden somewhere in Brazil, but we only know one car. That's a 1972 Chevrolet SS in a 4-door body. But what everybody wanted was the 2-door, the coupe, and here it is in Everest white. This car was taken from the junkyard and had a complete restoration. I like a lot the final result of this car from these both cars that were were restored. This car was never junkyard, never been a junkyard, but this one was taken out from junkyard, so had the special parts of the SS, the separated seats, the steering wheel, the console, and all these things that were sold, and so we had to buy back in the market. And the result is pretty good. I mean, I like this car a lot. It's a very nice car. I think it's my favorite color for 1972, the Everest White. The 1971 and 1972 is basically the same car. The difference is the body, the four-door and the coupe, and the steering wheel. That in the 71, it emulates wood. It's not wood, it's a plastic resin, but it has to look like wood. It was replaced by a black resin, so it doesn't have to look like wood anymore. That's it. The seats, the material here, it's very you don't have these grains, this texture. It have a different texture, but the design, everything is the same. So there a really minor difference from the 71 to 72. The front grille is the same, the wheels are the same, and the emblems are the same. You got the 4100 in the front fender. The wheels are pretty much the same from the Pontiac GTO 1970. The SS decal, the Opala emblems in the rear. So all this remained unchanged for 1972. For 1973, we don't have many changes, but there are some. The wheels are the same. The grille is different. I like this grille better with the SS in the middle. But here you have the Chevrolet SS in the right corner, down right corner. And you have the lights, the turning lights here in 71, 72, and then they go up here for 73 and 74. Okay. The stripes are the same, exactly. So does the emblem. So do the emblems. If you see one of them by the rear, it's just the same. These cars are very rare today, but I'll tell you why in the next few minutes. So for 1974, we have the first big change in the Chevrolet Opala SS line. Why? Because for 1974, General Motors has two different versions for the SS. You have the regular SS with the 250 6-cylinder inline engine. This is in a very nice wine color. But you also have the new, just released Chevrolet SS4. And that was very lucky from General Motors because they released this in late 1973, but before the Yom Kippur War, before the oil crisis. So when the oil crisis ended up in October 1973, General Motors had already released this Chevrolet Opala SS4. So what happened to the production all the production of the Chevrolet SS, not all, but 90%, 95%, I don't know, we don't have the accurate numbers from General Motors, they don't have these numbers, moved from the Chevrolet SS 6 cylinders to the Chevrolet SS 4 cylinders. For 1974 only, they have very different design solutions. The SS4, the SS6, the regular SS, was an evolution of the 1973, the same front grille, the same hood stripes, but you have some new side stripes. Instead of having the 4100 decal here in the front fender, you have an emblem, nice emblem, and you have this stripe that is very similar to the stripes used in the Chevrolet, the American Chevrolet El Camino SS for the same years. So you have the SS stripe here, and instead, so here you change the decal, the adhesive for an emblem, but in the rear was the opposite. You change the emblem for an adhesive for decal. So you have the Opala written here. Most of these cars have black stripe, but the few ones with dark colors have the stripe in white. That's the case of this one, in this very nice wine color. So this car was also taken from the junkyard and was completely rebuilt, and we have a very nice final result. This is the only car known in this color. I knew one of this in 1988. It was a 14-year-old car. It was a very well-preserved car. I got crazy when I saw it in a Fiat dealership, where I took the Fiat that I have at the time for service, and I was crazy to get this car, to buy that car, but I lost track of it. And then when I was in a car show here in Brazil a couple years ago, someone that was seeing the car said, "Oh, I knew a car like this in that neighborhood." So that was exactly the car that I knew in 1988. That car had a bad ending. It was destroyed by some vandals, something like that. And this is the only one known in this color. For the 1974 SS4, for the SS4, General Motors did something that was very similar to what Chrysler had done a couple years before with the Dodge Dart SE. The SE Special Edition, in the US, SE Special Edition is for the higher versions. Here was the cheapest version, and they used a lot of flat black. It was a cheap car, but with a flat black hood and some Satori colors and all this stuff to have a cheap sport version. And so did General Motors a year and a half after this with the Chevrolet Opala SS4. And so they have this unique design with the bumpers in flat black, hood in flat black, base of the mirror in flat black. And this car is a very interesting survivor car. It was never restored, have low mileage. From the 5 cars that are here, this is the only one that is a survivor. It has less than 30,000 kilometers, less than 20,000 miles, 18,000 miles, something like this. Everything is from factory, so this is a very good reference for a restoration. And it's a very nice looking car. But from that time on, the majority of the production of the Chevrolet SS went from 6 cylinders to 4 cylinders. So in 1975, 76, 78, up to 1980, that's the last year of the Chevrolet Opala SS, we have many cars with 4 cylinders. and very few with 6 cylinders. But from 1975 on, they're identical twins. The only difference is the engine, but from the outside, the cars are exactly the same. We have here a 1979 Chevrolet SS. This is one of the very rare units with the 6 cylinders. This one has a version of the 6 cylinders that's 250S. That is a version with a higher output, with more power than the base model. This is a pretty interesting car. But if this car was an SS4, it would be the same thing, at least seen from the outside. So General Motors was not giving different identities to the 4-cylinder and the 6-cylinder. Why? Because most people wanted the 4-cylinder, and they didn't want to have a written in the forehead, oh, this is a 4-cylinder, this is very slow car. So they were the same from the outside. This is from 1975. That will be the year after that one, to 1974. In 1975, they have an extreme facelift. So we have this round rear lights. The result is pretty good. And from 1979 to 1980, another extreme facelift. And the Chevrolet Opala from 1979 to 1980 came from this to this. This is a prototype, it's a pre-series car from 1981. It's pretty much the same of the 1980 car, but has the new panel, the new dash. But from the outside, it's the same thing from an SS from 1980. So this is a car with a very low VIN number. It's the 12th car produced in this year. And from our researches, we found out that those cars were produced while the 1980 line was still being produced for marketing purpose, for pictures and for folders and prospects and all this kind of thing. We discovered this car alive. It was incorporated to the fleet of General Motors and later sold to the public as a regular car. We found this car in the countryside of São Paulo state some years ago, and we did a complete restoration. It's a one-of-one SS4 in 1981. It has a unique pattern for the seats. These door panels are still factory, the same from factory, and the seats, they still have the factory cover, but it was pretty ragged. But it was good enough for us to make the same design while redoing this. So I wanted to do this video, so there are people who like Chevrolet fans outside of Brazil that have curiosity in knowing about the first years of the Chevrolet Opala SS. Here it is. So if you're from outside Brazil, you don't have much information regarding these cars, please leave your comment here, and this may lead us to other videos in this channel. Otherwise, we keep in our regular channel in Portuguese. Oh, but it's just doing a translation. No, it's not doing a translation. You have to make a context for what was going on, what was going on in Brazil, what were the people that are outside Brazil, they don't have the information that people that are here in Brazil. So what I have to say showing each of those cars is different if I'm making a video for Brazilian car guy or for a guy outside of Brazil. So it's not just putting subtitles, things like that. This is a Chevrolet Veraneo, the first SUV recognized by some people as the first modern SUV in the world. This was produced in by General Motors only in Brazil from 1964 to 1988. It made its fame as a police car. The people that were out of the law, they really were freaking when they saw those cars with the front lights on and make the scores and in a time that the police in Brazil was very, very tough. But also there were some deluxe versions that were used by civil people to go to the farm, to go to the beach. And this is a very nice unrestored 1978 model. Low mileage. Only 58,000 kilometers. That is less than 40,000 miles. Factory painting and all that. The hubcaps reminds a lot the 1972 Chevrolet Impala hubcaps, but they don't have that nice blue center cap. It's just painted in the middle of the hubcap. Okay, so that's it. If you like this kind of content, please let your comments here, and maybe we do more stuff in the future. Okay, thank you.